Hey, Dale.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, recovering from New York. Still, man. And today, back at work, being gone a week, I was so far behind. But I've got all my Gardner Webb stuff caught up, but I'm not caught up at work.
Yeah. I'd rather. I tell you what, I traveling anymore. It's the travel itself is not easy anymore. But the big thing about traveling anymore is how far you get behind. I mean,
Yeah, you're exactly right.
if you don't take it with you.
Well, I did, and I did as much as I could, but then there were some things I couldn't do until I got back.
Right. It's
You know,
aggravating. There ain't
but
no doubt.
that Tuesday, honestly, 12 hours we sat in Raleigh-Durham Airport. 4 flights were canceled before we finally got the 5th flight out. We got there, it was 9-something that night.
Well,
and we were supposed to be in there at 12 o'clock noon.
yeah, sat in the airport all day. It's kind of like I had to do a commuter flight down to Jacksonville, North Carolina from Charlotte, because I had to be back the next morning, and the superintendent, I was representing the district, and he wanted me to fly. We were doing the one of our athletic directors from CMS was getting inducted into the North Carolina High School Athletic Hall of Fame, and he didn't want to go. I mean, who wants to fly to Jacksonville, North Carolina, and back? So he didn't want to go, so he made me go. So I went over to the airport after work. It was supposed to be like, it's only like a 50-minute flight from Charlotte to Jacksonville, North Carolina, not Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
And they have one that leaves every day because it's for troops that have gone on leave. They shuttle them back and forth from Camp Lejeune there in Jacksonville. And then they fly out. Charlotte's a hub. They fly all over the country to go home when they're on leave. And so I'm sitting there with a bunch of jarheads, and it was one of those little planes that has the wings way up on top. It looks like a seagull. We kept waiting and waiting, and I could look out the glass. It was sitting there on the runway, and some fella had the lid up on one of the motors and was hitting it with a ball peen hammer. I said, I don't know about that. I don't believe that'd be the one for me there. I mean, he was beating on that thing, and finally they got us a fixed wing plane, not a jet, but a fixed wing that had, a regular looking plane, and we flew down there, and it was takeoff was real smooth, but then it was very turbulent ride, and then we landed. It was smooth on the glide descent landing. But now remember, those planes are like the old school buses when we were kids. They had a seat, them old metal bars, and no padding on them. And me and all them jarheads was about bruised up when we got there. So I went and did the banquet that night, and the next morning I got back to the airport at 6 o'clock the next morning. There sat that old thing that they'd been beating on the day before. And now that thing rode like a champ when you were up in the air going, but when you started your glide descent, them things don't glide. And the first thing happened, the fellow next to me spilled his coffee and orange juice all over himself, and fell out of his seat. They had no seat belts on them things. You just get in there and you just hang on to the handle like we used to on them old school buses on the corner. And but yeah, I sat in the airport, I don't know, probably 4 hours on each end, and the flight was a terror for an hour on both ends. And I said after that, if I have to quit, I'm never flying that kind of plane again ever in my life. I will never do that again. That is, I'll get on a jet tomorrow and go, but now I'm not ever getting on commuter flights again. I'm too old for all that drama, sitting in the airport and taking the beating and all that, and not doing it again. I'm placing my life out to do something else before I do that again. Well, I see we don't have too many people. I'm going to be brief. Thanks. If y'all hadn't met Josh, I wanted him to come tonight. So Josh is working with me. Dr. Sane is in Lincoln County Schools, and what is your official, your executive director of what?
Academic support and learn
Academic support and learning. I don't know what that means.
everything
But
people
everything that somebody else doesn't want to do.
don't.
I was just going to say, Danny, that's probably the first job that we had in the central office. When we left the principalship and everything else, that your title is, at the end of it, your job description and everything else.
Right.
Josh is doing
Et cetera. Yeah.
Josh is doing a great job with us. And so thanks, Robin, for being here. So Robin, Josh, and I and Jill Payne are going to be doing a professional development segment series this spring over the course of January, February, March, April, and May. If you'd like to join us, I think I attached that so that y'all can see that what we would be doing. If you'd like to join us any of those days, we'd love to have you. That last date, I don't know what we'll have. I may have to call on some of the rest of you who are on the recording. Most everybody just views the recording. I may have to call on you. I suspect they might want a professional growth plan, and we've got folks a lot better at that than me. But this is what we've got going on, and I'll just be honest. The reason I picked Josh and Robin and Jill is I talked with Chris, and we've done this for him before, and he wants folks who are still involved, who are still working, that to do this, because these are assistant principals that he's trying to train. He's got 7 new ones that he's trying to train on the fly. And they need to hear from people who are doing it every day. This is what you need to do now. I mean, we don't have time to develop them over the course of a 12 or 20 month program. We're trying to get them over the course of 4 months up to speed on everything that we do in the MELS program in 4 months.
Right.
It'll be like a fire hose. And so he requested that we have sitting folks in positions to do this. And I said, we can do that. And so, I think it's, we've done it before. It's, it's part of our CAPE requirement, but it's a good thing to do. And always remember, they're worth what we're worth what they're paying us, which is nothing. So we do this as one of those you have to do to maintain your status as an EPP, an educational program provider. And since we're the largest program by far in the College of Ed, it always falls on us to do this, but I don't mind. I've worked with Chris before. We've worked with several school districts, as you know, across North and South Carolina, and this may be my favorite. And there's a special place in heaven for somebody who will work with a little district like Thomasville, who, as we know, struggles. They need all the help that they can get. They can't find good people, and when they get them, they can't keep them. And so we're going to try to do what we can to assist them and get them up to speed as quickly as possible. So when we get a little closer to the time when things we'll, as a group, Robin, Josh, and Jill will meet together, and but you know how this goes. A very basic outline. Don't confuse them with your PowerPoint. Y'all have seen how simple my PowerPoints are. That's what they like. And that way you can talk more than just sit and read the PowerPoints. And so that's when I use my master scheduling, when I'll do that with them. Chris specifically asked that we do that one again. They really liked it. Let me tell my wife to get up, and the trick-or-treaters are here. She sees them finally. Yeah, the trick-or-treaters, the rain has finally stopped, thank goodness. And we're serving pizza at the clubhouse next door here on the water. And so some of them I see are stopping before they go get their pizza. They want to get an early start on the candy. So it'll be ding dong all night here. But she'll take care of that.
So Dale, what's your address? Because how late will you be up?
We'll be up. We're up pretty late. And so we got pizza for the kids. We ordered 50 pizzas for everybody, not just our neighborhood, but a lot of the other neighborhoods come, because we've been doing this for over 20 years. We've been doing this for 26 years. We've been doing a big pizza party and costumes down at the clubhouse, and even the years that we tore our old facility down and we're building our new one, we did it in the parking lot down there anyway. So this has been a constant. We haven't missed a year, and we didn't do, because of COVID, we weren't able to do we did a drive-by. They just came by and picked up individual pizzas and carried them home. But we're back to the regular pizza party, and they're having a big time out there. That's great. I'm glad the rain has stopped. It's been pouring here all day. But they'll get pizza, and then they'll trick or treat all the houses. My wife, they just looks like they took about half the bowl on the first round here. I bought $400 worth of candy early last week. So yeah, that's how big a crowd we have. I'm serious. I bought $400 worth of candy, and we'll give it all out tonight. If it doesn't rain, we'll have people here till 10 o'clock or later. So we'll be pretty constant for about 4 hours, and they'll eat 50 pizzas, and so we'll have a mob scene. It'll be fun though. They'll have a good time. A lot of the houses, they'll have something in the driveway. They'll have a popcorn machine, a music machine, and there'll be a lot of stuff out. A lot of people will be sitting in driveways. It'll be a good night for the rain will hold off. It'll be a good night for the community, for the kids. That's really important. All right, I don't have anything else tonight. Just if anybody had anything, I thought they'd bring it to the floor tonight. All I wanted to do was say that we'd be doing that. May need to call on more folks when we get to the end of that, if you'd like to come. But again, I thank Jill and Robin and Josh for doing that. And so, and that's God's work, helping little districts like that, folks. Whatever we can do for them, we always do. So I appreciate that more than you know. All right, I thank you all for all that you do. I know most everybody will watch this because got class tonight, so we'll be brief. I got class.
Danny.
Josh and I got class in a few minutes, and he's going to talk about personnel tonight and hiring. So I'm going to listen to him mostly.
Danny, can you give me a call a little bit later on?
I will as soon as we get through.
Thanks.
All right. The only other part of business that came from Luann this morning, she wanted me to remind you. I hope that she sent you out emails today, but if she didn't, if you've got incompletes from either the spring or the summer, they will be up this week. And so make sure that you have communicated with her about them. We've got one that we're going to let just go to an F. Danny and I have already communicated on it. Let's see. Anita and I, sorry. Anita and I have already communicated on it.
Daryl's the one I talked to you about.
Yeah, and you and I talked about that one and what the other one.
He has done absolutely
nothing. So we're going to let that one go. Danny and I communicated on that one, and then the other one I was thinking about, Anita and I have communicated on Kaylee. So that, you know, we can't do any more compassion. We've let them go for 2 semesters, and we have to end it. So.
But that 605 group, I've just about, or Kathy and I, we just about have them by next week. I will have them through the PSYOP. So
that's great.
All of them, but they're coming in, and
yeah, I graded one this morning that came in late last night. It was good.
It hasn't been an easy task.
No, it was good in that it was only 60 pages long, and I was so glad to see that.
But you know, I knew what the goal was, so I've worked at trying to make sure that it was quality and not quantity.
Well, see, that's just it. They got to quit. We got to get out of this notion of, I don't have time, I'm busy, I'm just going to copy and paste whatever's there and just throw it together.
Well,
here it is, you figure it out. No,
Kathy knows that was preached how many times, Kathy? Over.
Well,
and
that's
over.
become a thing now with students.
And I sent it back. I sent it back. I said, I'm not accepting this. And they finally got the message, and they're coming through.
Yeah, the one that came in this morning was good. Well, it came in late last night. I graded this morning.
Kathy and I both, I have thoroughly enjoyed working with the group.
Yeah.
It's been a good group.
Yeah, they are a good group. I worked with them some. I liked them. They were good. The little group that I've got now is 603. I like them. They're a good little group. Nothing wrong with them whatsoever. The 604s that we've got that Jill and I are working with from Gaston, doing a good job. They're doing their NESIS presentations, and you know, on all the differentiated instructional models, and that we're doing NESIS. You know, we're doubling up on them. We're not only doing 604 content, we're going to have them where they can get their certification to do observations in Gaston County when we get done. So we're doing NESIS training with them as well.
And don't remember, towards the end of this month is when your your interviewing session
Yep,
comes in.
yeah,
but,
I'll put that out this week.
And you've already given us the.
Yeah, I'm
the
gonna
link
put
for
out a
that.
notice to the students from,
Yeah,
I'll
you've
need
given
to,
us a link to that
yeah,
already.
I'll need to be on campus tomorrow to send that
Right.
blast out, because it has more than 100 on it, and
Yeah.
they try to block those, and so I'll go on campus and sign in and see if I can't get that sent out either
Robin,
tomorrow or Wednesday.
Robin, didn't you have Arius? You taught
Yeah.
Arius, didn't you? She's done a great job. Her baby is due anytime now. She's having a second baby anytime now. So I've been working with her so she could get her work in, and
Yeah,
Dr. Levis has too. So
yeah, I graded hers this
will-
morning.
she did a good job on her
Yeah,
work.
she did.
I thought
She did.
And
I
she's
enjoyed it.
one that doesn't write a lot, but what she writes is quality.
Yeah, that was the one I graded this morning.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yep, I got that one this morning. I enjoy reading them. I try to grade one or two every day, see what's going on.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
it gives me something to do, keeps me from being out on the street loafing, I guess. All right, Josh, I'll see you in a few minutes. We'll get started. And so, if you have anybody that's listening to this, 31 folks that are involved, if you have a incomplete, make sure you go in Web Connect to faculty forums and do the grade change form. They want that done now for incompletes, and it's pretty easy, self-explanatory. Send it to Dr. Bull and everything's good. Copy me. All right. I'll see y'all next time. Thank you.
Thank you.